Hello everyone, it's Finn. This video is part 4, the final part of Jehovah's Witnesses' Crimes Against Humanity Exposed. I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that justice prevails, and I will talk about that. And the second part is the bad news, and that's that it's going to be a very difficult school year. And after I finish this video, you'll understand why it will be a difficult school year. All right, let's get started. This moment, this event, this change shapes my future. The value of synchronicity causes me to rise above life situations, and going no contact with Jehovah's Witnesses has an irony. They, in their organization, are commanded to shun me. Whether I quit or if I'm baptized and they have a whim, or if I'm disfellowship, they're supposed to turn away from me and ignore me. I'm the bad guy. Okay. Is that not the pinnacle of no contact? I don't have to do it. I don't have any work to do. They do it for me. They turn away from me. So I don't have to worry about them hoovering or anything. No contact is a breeze when you're, turning away from Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, I'd like to talk about the narcissism of Jehovah's Witnesses because it includes many similar behaviors of the individual narcissist. And for example, devaluation. Jehovah's Witnesses organization, which I will call JW org, drills into its members that they are never good enough. If they do not attend all the meetings, make comments during the meetings, contribute financially, or go into door-to-door service, etc., they are not good enough. They are not worthy to be validated, and they will be shunned. They go so far as to deny a sexual abuse victim the right to be heard by legal authorities and given counseling support. But justice prevailed in that situation today, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. No, the victims are devalued. They also discard their members after they do not need them anymore. People can be accepted to serve for decades at headquarters called Bethel in New York. And then they suddenly get a letter. It's not even in person. They get a letter saying that their volunteer services are no longer needed. They're free to go home. The problem with this is that there is no financial compensation upon departure, and there's no tax credits that are accrued for these members' Social Security benefits when they do return to life outside the headquarter assignments. Some people have sold their homes and given the proceeds to Jehovah God through the JW organization, and suddenly they're out and everything is gone. They have nothing to return to. No money, no place to live, zero. The organization's gaslighting includes strong discouragement toward ambition like higher education and materialism. So the members remain ignorant and very blind, don't know how to do research, can't find out the truth about the organization. Lack of education really incapacitates them, their critical thinking. Um, the JW.org prefers that their members remain uneducated, unskilled, non questioning, and non critical thinkers. But the organization itself lies about their ambition and their success to acquiesce our money and volunteer resources. So they prey like a regular narcissistic person or individual, they prey upon human energy. They are known to have over 900 million in offshore accounts. Their narcissistic superiority is clearly demonstrated by fear tactics. They are a organization of doom. And it's absolute junk and nonsense. People are unhappy inside the organization today because they are so unconscious. They just follow blindly, and they can feel it. They can feel that something's wrong, but they can't pinpoint it. So they keep on getting fed this nonsense and these lies and being gaslighted, and they're expected to be, smiling and happy, and they're not. These people are very unhappy, and they need someone else to tell them what they should believe, because they just are, quite frankly, empty-headed. In the 2019 Jehovah's Witness convention called Love Never Fails, members were actually told that they could not have everlasting life unless they were baptized into the organization. Now ask yourself, does anybody have a monopoly on truth? No, of course not. That's nonsense. So they employ their superiority to make their members surrender to them if they want everlasting life. And it's a very dysfunctional consciousness of 8 million people. And that's why I said earlier that we're going to have a difficult school year, because these children are not going to be knowing what's going on, but they're going to be probably bullied. They'll be persecuted for being a Jehovah's Witness, and it's really not their fault. They're just following their parents' ignorance, really. They're dependent on their parents to take care of them, and their parents just didn't know any better. They really didn't know any better. They were not consciously awake. And I don't have any sympathy for Jehovah's Witnesses, but as because I was one, and I woke up. But they just don't have critical thinking abilities, and then some that do stay in because they can clearly sexually abuse people inside the organization and get away with it because they don't have to report it. Um, but let me reiterate that nobody has a monopoly on truth. And let's talk about the JW organization, Narcissistic Entitlement, which is absolute upon their members. They demand their time, like 4 hours of meetings per week, going door to door to recruit new members. They want to control their energy, their financial resources, their thinking, their behaviors, and their associations. These people are so tired and fed up that they are leaving and taking their families with them all around the world, actually. Hundreds of kingdom halls at present are closing and being sold because this is a business organization, not a religious organization, and the mask is coming off. The narcissistic mask is finally coming off. But these closing of congregations, it causes people to, the organization consolidates these groups in other places and other kingdom halls, and sometimes it causes their members to drive 30 to 45 minutes to another kingdom hall 2 times a week for required meetings. So their entitlement is making this organization become a laughing stock to those who are awake to their foolish demands. If you quit the organization or complain about sexual abuse, even if you're baptized and it's their whim, or they think they saw something and they can make the judgment call upon your behavior, you get disfellowshipped and shunned or ostracized by them, and that causes a consequence of trying to keep you silent and suffering alone inside the organization, because you become separated from your friends, and more importantly, they become separated from their families. Um, so it's a very destructive, typically narcissistic behavior, but it has destroyed many lives for decades, and some people even commit suicides as a result. But today, justice finally prevailed, and this 150-year covert narcissistic organization has had its own legs cut off. The guilty may be going to prison. I'm going to put something in the description box. It's a video link that's been today's release of the TV interview of 12 sexually abused people inside the organization. Some have been silent for, um, 30 years. So justice has finally prevailed, and the truth of this narcissistic cult, it will be, shown. It's gonna stand just completely naked in front of the whole truth. I mean, in front of the whole world now. So it's going to be a consequence to the families and to the children, but it's showing that the negative energy of this planet, whenever we expose global echelon narcissists, um, when they're exposed, it's just, negative energy is dying on the planet. They no longer have a way or a vehicle, or an opportunity to produce any more of that negative energy on the planet. They become, stopped and suppressed from pushing any more evil into the world. So I'm real glad that the negative energy of this planet is dying, and we all need to wake up to many things that are happening on this planet, and we need to live by our birthright, which is freedom. So if you did watch this and you did like it, I hope that it was of some value to you to understand the Jehovah's Witnesses a little bit better. I'm so glad that it's the end of the Jehovah's Witnesses. They won't be knocking at your door anymore. And if they do knock at your door, all you have to do is tell them, you are a narcissistic cult, and you are hiding child abuse from the Supreme Court. They have a database that they are not willing to disclose to the Supreme Court. So this is a very, serious criminal problem, and they will be prosecuted for it. So we have to be smart. We have to pursue wisdom, and and find our own happiness in this world outside of people who are trying to bamboozle us and bamboozle our whole family for decades. So be careful of what you do listen to, and always, be a very good, strong, critical thinker. Keep your senses sharp and continue to pursue wisdom. So the good news is that negative energy is dying on this planet, and I'm so glad to already be out legally. I am not, associated with a criminal activity of this narcissistic cult. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Uh, Enjoy your day. Bye bye.